Hello, little pilgrims. It's week 28 and we have a lot to do today. We're going to talk about Texas. We're going to start talking about Texas the next couple of weeks. And so it's going to be a little bit different. But before we get started, let's go ahead and do our pledges. And this time in your packet, you will see a copy of the Texas Pledge in case you haven't really remembered that yet, but there it is. It's for you to look at. It looks kind of like this. All right, it's nice and short, isn't it? All right, let's go ahead and start with our American pledge. Go ahead and get your right hand, put it over your heart, and let's get started. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, good. Let's go ahead and do the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one nation under God, one state under God, one and indivisible. Sorry about that. I made a mistake there. It's a state, not a nation. All righty. We're going to start by just reviewing a little bit from last week. Remember, we talked about all the different places all across the United States that you might want to visit someday, and they're kind of landmarks of the United States and what some of the things that we're known for. Well, we're going to do one of our reviews like we usually do. This is called Unit 14 Review, and it looks the same as ones that we've done before. And if you'll see down here at the bottom, there are answers. We have prayer, capital, liberty, Puritans, Washington, White House, Rushmore. And if you can see down here at the bottom, there's a picture of Rushmore, Mount Rushmore. Let's go ahead and do the first one. Congress is held in a building called which one down here do you think is the right answer for that one? Remember the big, beautiful building that had a kind of a dome over it? That one was the Capitol. Okay, right here, Capitol. So that is your answer for number one. Number two, the capital city of the United States is, what is it? Of course, you know that one. That's Washington, D.C. All right, although on this one it doesn't say D.C., it just says Washington. All right, the President of the United States lives in we read a book about it last week, the White House. Each meeting of the Supreme Court is begun by a prayer. Okay. France gave the people of the United States the Statue of what? Statue of Liberty. Right. The city of Boston was started by way over here, the Puritans. Remember the people who wanted to purify the Church of England, and they were persecuted over in England, so they came over to the United States. And Boston was one of the cities that was founded by them. Okay, the largest stone carving in the world is called Mount Rushmore, and here's your picture of it. All right. So that's all we're going to do today as far as reviewing about what we did last week. Now we're going to start talking a little bit more about Texas, all right? You are going to make a book about Texas, and it's going to be, we're going to work on it for a few weeks or 2 or 3 weeks. We don't have that much time left, but we're going to work on it, and you are going to work a little bit on it each time. So whenever we are done, you need to Be sure to keep your pages, because by the time we're done with it, you will have a little book that you're going to staple along the side and make a nice little book about Texas. Okay, the very first page looks kind of like this. In fact, it looks exactly like this. It's called Texas, the Lone Star State. And this is going to be the cover, like I said. And if you'll notice, look at there's a map. Although there's not much on the map, it's just the state of Texas right here. And inside the state of Texas is the Texas flag. Now you know what the Texas flag looks like, don't you? Well, in your packet you also have a picture of the Texas flag, so you can make sure to color it the proper thing. All right? Then we have some different symbols of Texas that we're going to be talking about in the next couple of weeks. We have our blue bonnet right over here, and those come out in the spring, don't they? They're beautiful, beautiful state flower. Then we have a picture of the Alamo. Up here is what is this? This is an armadillo. Talk a little bit about that, even read a story about that. Then we have up here a bird. It's called the mockingbird, and we'll have a picture of that eventually, so you'll know what to do, how to color that. But right now, and then we have our pecan tree. Okay, these are, well, actually, that doesn't look like a pecan, does it? That looks like a pine tree. But anyway. So we're not going to color too much on this today. We will, if you like, you can color the flag, since we know what the flag looks like. Right? So that is the cover of your book. All right. Now we're going to have the next page, which is page number 1. And this is kind of a fun page because it has all kinds of crayons on it, but each one of the crayons is a color that has something to do with Texas. So if you look down here at orange like the Texas, well, it doesn't, like the desert stones up in the west Texas. It's kind of deserty in the northwest, and so that's what that's talking about. It's talking about orange like the desert stones. Then we have green like the Texas cactus. There's lots of parts of Texas that have cactus in them. Purple like the Texas wildflowers. Okay, a lot of the wildflowers are purple. The bluebonnet is blue, of course. And the Indian paintbrush is kind of an orange-red, but there's a lot of purple ones too. Then we have black, like the Texas oil gusher. Texas has lots of oil, as you know, and it used to be that the way they would find it was they dig and dig and dig, and pretty soon it would just gush right up out of the ground, and it was black. It was oil. All right. Then we have red like the hot chili peppers. Right? That's what we put in our chili sometimes and other things to make it very spicy and hot. Then we have yellow like the yellow rose of Texas. That's the name of a song, the Yellow Rose of Texas. And then we have blue like the Texas bluebonnet and brown like the Texas longhorn. Okay. There you go. So you can just kind of color that, the right colors. Don't color over the writing, though, otherwise you won't know what it stands for. Okay, so be careful about that. Or if you do color it, you can do it with a colored pencil or something that you can still see the writing. Right? Now now in your packet you have a couple of different things that you're going to be looking at. It's not going to really be part of your book. There's one like this. This is a map of Texas. And see, it has different cities in it. We have here, well, we of course have Fort Worth, which is where we live. Then we have Dallas, which is near us. And Waco is a little bit south of us. Then we have over here this star. That is Austin, the state of Texas. I'm going to wait a minute until this airplane goes past. All right, then we have El Paso way over here in the western Texas, and all these, and then there's some things that are not in Texas. We have some states. There are some states that border around Texas. All right, we have Oklahoma up here, it's on the north, and we have Arkansas and Louisiana, and then on this side we have New Mexico. All right, so what you're going to do with this is you're just going to put it in front of you because you're going to look at it to do your next worksheet. Right here you have just a whole list. You're not going to do anything with this. This is just a list of different parts of Texas, and you'll find each one of these on your map. All right, so let's go ahead, and what you're going to do is you're going to take your map, which is this one. It has a bunch of blanks in it, doesn't it? But you know what? If you look over here at this map side by side, you'll see that those blanks are in the same places as the cities and things on your map. So that's why you're going to be looking at your map. All right, first of all, let's look. We're going to look at our list. All right, the very first thing on our list, number 1, it says Amarillo. Amarillo is a city in northern Texas. Look on your map. Find Amarillo. Where is it? It's right here at the top. That's number 1. So find out where Amarillo would go on this map. And it would go right here. That's number 1. So go ahead and put a number 1 on that line, all right? And we're going to do the same thing with everything, with all the other things. So keep that map in front of you so you'll be able to find it. Number 2 is Arkansas. It's a state that is northeast of Texas. All right, can you find Arkansas? Arkansas is way over here. You only see part of it on your map. Okay, so that's number 2. Excuse me, got the sneezes there. Number 3, that is Austin. Austin, remember, is the state capital. That's where the governor lives, and that's where all the state laws are made and everything. And you can tell where Austin is because you can find the 2 stars right in the middle. Okay, right, see right there? That's where Austin is, and that would be number 3. Okay, so go ahead and put number 3 by Austin. The next thing we're going to find is a national park. We've talked about national parks before, haven't we? This national park is in Texas. It's called Big Bend National Park. All right? Big Bend National Park is, the reason it's called that, I think, is because it's at the bend of the Rio Grande River. All right? Big Bend is right here. Okay? Right here. It's a big, huge national park. You can put number 4 by Big Bend. Okay? Then you have another city, number 5. That's called Brownsville. It's a city in far south of Texas along the Rio Grande. Remember, the Rio Grande is this river that divides Texas from Mexico. So we're going to go way to the very south. Can you find Brownsville? Brownsville is this one way down here. All right? And Brownsville is number 5. Then we have Corpus Christi, and some of you probably have been to Corpus Christi. Corpus Christi is a city in southern Texas on the Gulf Coast. All right? Right here is the Gulf of Mexico. So if you look at find Corpus Christi, you look right up from where you wrote where Brownsville is and go straight up, and there you go. That is where Corpus Christi is, and that is number 6. Now, how many of you know where Dallas is? I think you probably know where Dallas is. Let's go find Dallas. It's up here at the top, okay? So we're going to go over here, and it's right here. Dallas is right here. That is number 7. Okay, it's just a little bit east of us. Now we have the Davis Mountain Range. It's in western Texas. Okay, western is over here. And we're going to find the Davis Mountains. Now remember, this was Big Bend. The Davis Mountains are right above it. Right? Davis Mountains, that's number 8. Okay, number 9, El Paso is at the very, very far west of Texas, on the very edge. It barely made it into Texas. Okay, that's El Paso. It is in the far west Texas along the Rio Grande. A lot of people from Mexico cross into the United States by El Paso. Okay, that's number 9. Now we have Fort Worth. Okay, now you already put Dallas right here, right? Well, Fort Worth is just a little bit west. It's number 10. Where's Galveston Bay? Look on your map. Galveston Bay. Some of you have probably been to Galveston Bay. All right. And look at, we have Brownsville. We have Corpus Christi. Galveston Bay is right up here. All right. That is number 11. Well, then we need to find the Gulf of Mexico. That's a great big body of water that goes into the ocean. And that is right here, this whole thing right here. So we're going to put number 12 for Gulf of Mexico right here, okay? Houston. Houston is a huge city. It's near Galveston Bay. So if this is Galveston Bay, this must be Houston right here. Okay? Houston is 13. Now we've got Laredo. That is another city that is on the southern border of Mexico. And a lot of people, again, they go from Mexico to the United States through Laredo. That is number 14. Let's find Laredo on the map. All right. It's right up here. Okay. It's on this side. All right. So now we've got, that would be number 14. Number 15, there's Louisiana. That is another state that's next to the Texas. It's just the next state east of Texas. And that would be right here. You only see a little bitty part of it. Okay, that's 15. Where is Lubbock? Where's Lubbock? Look on your map. Find it. Lubbock is a city in northern Texas. It's near Amarillo. It's a little south of Amarillo. It's right here. Okay, this is Lubbock. That is number 16, so you can put a 16 on there. All right. Now, where is Mexico? Where's Mexico? Mexico. Okay. This is Mexico. Okay, so Mexico would be number 17. Now we have New Mexico, and that is another state that borders the United States. So if you can find New Mexico on the map, it would be right above El Paso. That's number 18. And then we have Oklahoma, which is right here. It's that funny shape there. Okay. This is Oklahoma. That is number 19. And then we have the Rio Grande. Rio Grande Okay, it's actually in two different places. We've got, let's look here. The Rio Grande, it's up here. It's right here. So you can, whoops, I'm not even showing it to you. Okay, this whole thing right here is the Rio Grande. So what we can do is we can put number 20 there for Rio Grande, and then you can draw an arrow to there, okay? So that we know that that's what it is. It's the Rio Grande. Number 21, San Antonio. That's a city that's a little bit south of Austin. San Antonio is 21. And then Waco is number 22. And Waco is just a little bit south of Dallas. That's number 22. Okay? Look at that. You finished your map. Now you know where some of the cities in Texas are. And other things. Some states and even some other countries like Mexico. The next page is kind of a fun page. It's just a page to color. We're not going to do anything on it. But look at it. Look at all these different pictures of that are all over Texas. And it kind of shows you where some of these things are in Texas. And so you're right here, you can see the Alamo. That's kind of right in the middle or a little bit south because that's where San Antonio is. And we'll talk a little bit more about the Alamo later. And up here in the north, you'll see cactus and oil wells and things like that. There's a lot of those up there in that part of Texas. Over here, you know what this is? This is an observatory. That's where there are huge, huge telescopes that look up into the sky and see things far, far out in space. And right here is where, on your map, you put the Davis Mountains, and the Davis Mountains have these telescopes right on them, and you can actually go and look at them. I did that one time. It was a lot of fun. You could see Saturn and Pluto, and well, not Pluto, Saturn and Jupiter, and a lot of the different planets by looking at this observatory. All right, and you can just look. And then we have our capital, state capital. It's right there. It's where Austin is, and so on. You can just look at that and see the different things on it to see what's the different places. What are in the different places in Texas? Okay. Now, have you ever heard of Six Flags Over Texas? Well, it's not only an amusement park in Arlington. All right. There are there's another thing that it is, and it's actually what the name came from. In Texas, before it was a state in the United States, it had other countries ruling over it. In fact, it has had 6 different flags ruling over it at one time. All right, one time or other, before, and the very last flag that has been flown over it is the United States flag, because that is when it became a state in the United States. And you can see this, and in your packet, here we go. Here are the 6 state flags. Spain has ruled over Texas. France has ruled over Texas. And then, let's see, we've got Mexico that ruled over Texas. And then it became a state, its own country. Did you know that at one time Texas was its own country? And that is that flag. And then it also, when it was a state in the United States, it was part of the Confederacy, which is when the war between the states, we've talked a little bit about that, but it was part of the southern part, and it had its own Confederate flag there. And of course, this one at the top is the United States flag. Now, if you don't know how to color these, in your packet, there's all kinds of pictures, and they're colored pictures, and they're pictures of what the different flags look like. So you can color them just the way the flags really did look. And then look at this. This kind of looks like a Texas state flag, doesn't it? There's a star, and then this is a stripe right here, and then there's two stripes right there. So you would color that pretty much exactly like you'd color a Texas state flag. All right, so you can make this picture very beautiful. Now we've got the Texas state flag, and again, you already know about this, but did you know that the colors mean something? And here's a picture of the state flag. Okay, so there's blue on this background, there's white on the top stripe, and there's red on the bottom stripe, and they all mean something. Red stands for bravery. White stands for purity. Purity is when there's no wrong and everything is clean and bright. And blue stands for loyalty, because we are loyal to our state and to our country, aren't we? Okay, so each one of you can think about those as you color those. They mean a certain thing, all right? Then we have something that's called the state seal. Is it really one of these kind of seals, do you think? It's not. That was just kind of fun. It's not a state. It's not an animal at all. A state seal is an official kind of stamp that gives documents, makes documents official. All right. And so there's actually two pictures. This one down here is the state seal when it first became, when it was its own little country, when it was called the Republic of Texas. This is the state seal now. It's the state of Texas now. And again, you have a picture of it so that you know what it looks like. All right. And these have different, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that too, okay? But not right this minute. So those are the pages that you're going to work on today in your book. And do a careful job of it, because you know this is a state that we love living in, and you want to do your best work on it, don't you? All right, that's all we're going to do on your Texas book today. Now we have something else that we're going to do, and it doesn't have a lot to do with Texas, but it has to do with some of the things that we talked about last week. And I am going to read a book to you, and it's called Fun's Travels Across America. Now, I have a fun story about this book. Many, 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 many years ago, before you were born, it was evening one time, and I was sitting in my living room reading a book, and I kept hearing something outside. And it was a truck, and it kept it was just kept revving and revving and revving. It's like it was having terrible trouble. So I looked out the window, and there was somebody in a moving truck trying to back his truck into his driveway. He was going to live in that house, and he was having a terrible time doing that. So I talked to my husband about it, because my husband is very good at backing big trucks. He used to do that when he was younger. So I talked to him, and I said, do you think you might want to go help that man? He's having trouble. And so my husband went out, and he talked to that man, and he said, I used to drive big trucks like this. Would you like me to help you back it in? And the man said, yes, please. I cannot back this in. Would you please help me? So my husband got up into the truck, and you know what was beside him? On the truck, in the passenger seat, there was a rabbit. And he was just sitting there on that passenger seat like he owned the place. And that was very confusing to my husband. But, he just backed that truck in just like that, first try, and that was that. Well, you know who that bunny was? That bunny was Buns. And the man who was having a hard time backing that truck in was Bun's owner. How about that? And he was working on this book right when he was moving into that house. He was a photographer and he went all over the United States and took pictures of things, and he had buns in all of the pictures. All right. Now, if you open up this book here, you're going to see something here. You're going to see that there is an autograph. And an autograph is just the signature of whoever wrote the book. Well, it doesn't have the author's autograph. Whose autograph does it have? It has Bun's. And look, I'm going to show you something else. See this little right here? That's where Bun's took a little bite out of it. That was his signature. How about that? It's called the Bun's bite. All right. Now, after that story, that kind of makes this book a little bit more special. Okay, I'm going to read a book called Bun's Travels Across America. And here's a picture of Bun's. Okay, that's exactly what he looked like. Hi, and this is as if Bun's is telling the story. Okay, hi, I'm Cotton Paw. That's my name because my left front paw is as white as cotton, but everyone just calls me Buns. I was born deep in the heart of Texas in a town called Waco. You know where that is. I was just like other rabbits until one day I got a harebrained notion to go traveling. My adventures have taken me to many famous and wonderful places. I'll bet I'm the best traveled bunny in the whole USA. I wrote this story so boys and girls everywhere could learn as I did about America. See, here's another picture of Buns. He was a very long rabbit. He's just lying there enjoying the scenery. Okay? Try and get it straight there. All right, let's go to the next page. Statue of Liberty, New York City. We've talked about that, haven't we? Look at him. Look at Buns. He's looking at the Statue of Liberty. I rode the ferry to Liberty Island to see a lady 300 feet tall. She was a gift to America from the people of France in 1886. The Statue of Liberty is the symbol of freedom around the world. Here she is, right? Or he, I think it's a he. Right, looking at the Statue of Liberty. Let's see where he goes next. USS Constitution, Boston, Massachusetts. There he is. You can see him. He's looking at a very old battleship. I peeked over an anchor and spied old Ironsides. The ship got its nickname because the cannonballs bounced off her sides during the War of 1812. So that is an old book. Niagara Falls, USA and Canada. At Niagara Falls, the rainbow lasts the whole day and stretches all the way from the United States to Canada. And that is why it says Niagara Falls is in the United States and Canada. There you go. Have you ever seen the Niagara Falls? So it's in New York. It's a beautiful, beautiful big falls. It's huge. In fact, look, I don't know if you can see down here. You see this little thing right here? That's a little boat. See how big Niagara Falls is? This is another thing we've talked about. White House, Washington, D.C. This is where the president lives. The house was burned by British soldiers in 1812. It was painted white to hide the fire marks and has been called the White House ever since. This looks like Buns went there in the winter because it's snow. There's snow on the ground. But there's the White House. Doesn't look like there's too many people around. Lincoln Memorial, Washington, D.C. President Abraham Lincoln worked through throughout the Civil War to preserve the Union. His statue seemed so real that I cocked my ears to hear him speak. Here is a picture of the Lincoln Memorial. It's very, very huge. It's hard to see how big it is just by looking at the picture. But we've talked about Abraham Lincoln, haven't we? The Gulf Coast. We just talked about the Gulf Coast just a little bit ago with our map. I got my first taste of seafood at the beach on the Gulf of Mexico. It was delicious. Remember, you put on your map Corpus Christi. It's right by the Gulf Coast. Look at that. Looks like he was enjoying seaweed there. All right. Bayou, Louisiana. You never know what you'll run into when you travel. Deep in a Louisiana bayou, I saw a scary-looking alligator. Do you see him? I'm lucky he didn't see me. Can you see the alligator in that picture? Oop. That alligator would have loved to gobble up buns if he'd seen them. Luckily he didn't. Mississippi River. I cruised up the Mississippi from New Orleans to St. Louis on a paddle wheel steamer. The captain told me the Mississippi is the longest river in North America. Have you ever seen a bunny on a boat like that? There he goes. He traveled the Mississippi. That's a really huge paddle boat. Has big paddles on the back of it, and that's what makes it go. Gateway Arch, St. Louis, Missouri. I lay on the grass and gazed at the arch, which soars 630 feet into the sky. All the carrots in creation couldn't keep me from hopping through this gateway to the west. That's a very, very, very high arch. And you know what? You can actually go to the very top and look out. You have to go in a big elevator. Okay. It's a national park now, but I don't think it was when he made this picture. I think it's the smallest national park in the United States. That's what they say. Here we go. I thought I saw a buffalo. Did he see one? I did! On the grasslands of Oklahoma. There he is. He's pretty big compared to Buns, huh? Then we have Johnson Space Center, Houston, Texas. I spent a lazy afternoon at Mission Control and daydreamed of being the first rabbit in space. Good, there's some different space rockets. See right here, these great big, these are like the attached to the rockets. Give them all their boost, their power. Looks like he's enjoying that, isn't he? The Alamo, San Antonio, Texas. Alamo means cottonwood in Spanish. It reminds me of my cottontail. The most famous battle for Texas independence from Mexico was fought here. Look at this picture. Him at the Alamo. Looks like he's visiting with other people too. He's not the only one there this time. Pikes Peak, Colorado. Now, how many of you have ever been to Pikes Peak? It's a very high mountain in Colorado, and you can go to the top of it. You can either drive to the top of it, or you can go up in a railroad that goes straight up the mountain. The view from the top of this mighty mountain is all downhill. It was thrilling to know I was the highest rabbit in America. Look at how high that is. It is 14,110 feet tall. One high mountain, if you ask me. And there he is. I'm not sure I would want to get that close to the edge. Seems to be enjoying the view though. The Grand Canyon in Arizona. If my ears were a little bit longer, I would fly the 10 miles across to the other side. The Grand Canyon was carved by the Colorado River, which flows a mile below my paws. Look at that, a whole mile. See how big that is? If you haven't ever gone to see the Grand Canyon, I hope someday you can. It's a very, very beautiful place. Saguaro National Monument in Arizona. Although I had never seen them before, I felt right at home among the saguaro cactus of southern Arizona. Look at that huge cactus. They're huge. And they're in the deserts. Monument Valley. Monument Valley is on the border of Arizona and Utah. These buttes are named Left-Hand Mitten, Right-Hand Mitten, and Merrick. Can you guess which is which? Left-Hand Mitten, Right-Hand Mitten, and Merrick. Which one do you think is Merrick? Yosemite National Park in California. We're seeing quite a few national parks, aren't we? The spray from Yosemite Falls showered my dusty coat and washed my paw and tail as white as cotton. Can you find me? He's kind of hard to see. He blends right in, doesn't he? Okay, can you see him right here? That's a beautiful falls that is in Yosemite. Great big tall waterfall. All right, let's keep going. We're almost done. Hollywood, California. I hopped down Hollywood Boulevard and discovered the star for my hero, Bugs Bunny. Do you think Buns will ever be as famous as Bugs? There he is by Bugs Bunny. Star. Isn't that funny? Do you think Buns will ever have a star? Golden Gate Bridge. So he's kind of made his way all the way across the United States. He started on the East Coast, where there was Washington, D.C. and Statue of Liberty and all that. And now he's all the way over on the West Coast to the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, California. My journey had taken me from the Atlantic coast to the Pacific coast. As I looked back toward the east, I thought of all the wonderful places I had been in my travels across America. Here he is by the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. It's not gold, it's red. Looks like you'd think it would be gold, wouldn't you? But there he is. I wonder where I will be tomorrow. Here he goes. Maybe he'll go back and see other things. Go the other direction, I don't know. But I hope that someday you all can see all those things that Bun saw. Okay? And that is all we have for today. And I hope you enjoyed the book. And you can start looking up some stories maybe about Texas to find out some more. And we will see you next week. I hope you have a great week. Bye-bye.